Hi there and welcome to the section on the effects chain and EQ. Again, these are topics I've covered in more depth in my other Sonic Academy courses, but for the purpose of this series, I just want to give you an introduction to these two principles, beginning with the effects chain. So as you know by now, we can load up to 10 independent effects throughout the slots on a single mixer insert, but what often goes unnoticed is that these effects need to be ordered in what we often refer to as the effects chain. So each new effect you add into a slot will feed off the one before it, and arranging the order of effects on the chain can have big implications on the end result of the sound. As always, it's best to do a practical example to demonstrate the idea, and I'm going to work off the delay sound that we already have set up for the clap, so I'll just play it again as a reminder. Now you'll notice that I've also added an extra EQ in the chain here, as well as a second delay bank. So currently the order of the chain goes delay first, EQ second, and then a delay in third place. This means that the EQ will affect the delay signal after it occurs, and the combined signal of these two will finally be affected again by the second delay bank. So let me just turn the EQ and delay on, and I'm going to show you how it affects the sound. And you can also use the scroll wheel on your mouse to hover over an effect and move it up or down on the chain, just like that. And I'll just solo that out so you can hear it even better. So now that you have an idea of how the chain order can affect the sound, let's look a little bit further into what the EQ here is doing. I'm not sure that we've really covered EQ anywhere throughout the levels of this course, so I'll go ahead and open a new parametric EQ on the master channel. And I'll resize it by double clicking the top of the grey bar to help let us see things a bit more clearly. So in the simplest of terms, an EQ serves to both boost and cut certain frequencies within the scope of its frequency range, in this case from 20 Hz all the way up to 20,000 Hz. You'll notice 7 numbers across the screen, each of which are known as bands. These bands can be adjusted using different shapes, so I'm going to begin with band 1, right click it and choose high pass from the list of available types. And as you can see, this has created a slope which will roll off any frequencies below that point. Now, depending on what you're listening on, you may not have heard a roll-off of the frequencies below around 60 Hz or so. So I'll just move the band around again to give you a sense of what's really happening right up to the top. Now, how steep this slope is will determine how gradual the roll-off sounds. So let's right-click band 1 and go to order. And I'm going to choose steep 8. And as you can see, this is an almost vertical slope here. So steeper roll-offs like this cut nearly all of the frequencies below the cutoff point out of the mix, whereas a gradual slope still allows for some of them to come through a little bit. If you lose too much of a sound, consider using a gentler slope type than this one. You can also make more precise edits, so let's go ahead and choose mid band 4 and move it upwards to boost frequencies and downwards to cut them. So as you will have noticed visually, these edits were affecting quite a large portion of the spectrum, and to narrow things down and single out specific frequencies, we can change what is known as the bandwidth. So in the lower left you'll see, the lower right you'll see 2 yellow wheels assigned to band 4. The top one will change the frequency and the bottom changes the bandwidth. So watch how the width of the band changes as the value changes. So I'll keep the bandwidth all the way to the left and create a focused narrow boost to a specific frequency range. Of course, this isn't what you want to be doing on the master track and is more useful for single element scenarios, but keep in mind this is all just a demonstration and probably not something you actually want to do. So of course you can edit all of these bands in the same way, and as always I'd encourage you to experiment when it comes to using it on the likes of effects chains, such as the clap delay that we just looked at. So that's all we really need to know about EQ for the time being, so let's move on. In the next video we're going to be taking a look at creating a clap effect, so I'll see you there.